Hello everybody, Average Gamer here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. In this episode, the never-ending buff/nerf cycle for mechs. And why I think this is a strategy that PGI might be doing to possibly maybe drive up some sales numbers a little bit. Okay, so if you're first off, I just want to explain what buffing and nerfing is before we get into. So buffing and nerfing, basically, a buff is when you change a mech and make it better, give it structure upgrades or quirks that are better than they currently are, weapon upgrades currently that the better they are, etc., etc. Nerfing is when you reduce said things. So, for example, a buff would be laser range plus 12. So all lasers on, say, the archer here, have a plus 12 to their, plus 12% to their range. Any laser. Medium pulse, medium, small lasers, you name it. Everything has a 12, or we'll say, just to be on the safe side, be an easy number here. The quirk to start off is a 10. So it's plus 10% range to all energy weapons. So all energy weapons have plus 10 to the range. So if they have 100 meters, they have 110 meters as the range. Now, what happens then is there's a buff. They decide, 10 meters extra, it's really not doing much. It's really not that effective. People are actually building out these robots not so much to utilize these things. And this mech, historically, in lore, uses a lot of lasers. So, you know what? We're going to increase it. We're going to increase it actually to 25%. So now, if your range was 100 meters, for example, your range is now 125. If your range was 1,000, it's 1,250. Basically, you can hit anything anywhere on the map almost, except for some of the newer maps. But yeah, so that would be a buff. That would be something where the game designers have come in, so PGI has come in and looked at something and went, well, this is the baseline. It isn't it really isn't working as well as we thought it was. So we're just gonna, make it look a little bit better. And that's just it. That's where buff came in. It basically came out of, if I'm not mistaken, because you can, buff out things when it comes to manufacturing and stuff like that. And, when you buff out a mistake, you make something look new, clean, and polished. And that's what you're doing. You're buffing you're buffing up one of the mechs to make it look all better and, more fancier. And oh my god, it's got 25% range quirk to its lasers. Oh my god, that's an extra 250 meters. So that would be a buff. A nerf is if, say, for example, that initial 10 additional percent. They're looking at going, you know what? Everybody and their mother are putting lasers on these mechs, and we're noticing that they're kind of overdoing it a little bit. So this 10 meters or 10% extra to the range is giving them a bit of an unfair advantage, we're thinking. So we're going to reduce it to 5%. So now everyone only has a 5% increase to their range. So now if you had a 10% or 10 meter, that 10 meter range extension, now it's down to 5. If you have 100, it's down to 50. So that is a nerf, where you're basically reducing a mech's effectiveness because it's overall working too well, or in theory working too well. So just to kind of summarize, buff is the programmer's way of making something better. Nerf is the way of making it produce worse. So basically increasing its efficiency versus reducing its efficiency. So now, the reason why I think this is part of the, we'll say, marketing or we'll say budgetary ideas for PGI. They release a mech. And, it works fine. Like the Archer, for example. It comes out, it's released, it's played, all that stuff, and then later on down the road, another mech comes out. It's just that little bit better. So everyone's looking at those archers going, you know what, I really don't want this archer, I want the new mech. The new mech's, doing really good. I have 3 mech bays available if I get rid of these 3 archers. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell my 3 archers, and I'm going to buy these 3 new, fuck, I'm going to pull a mech out of my ass here. The awesome. I'm going to buy these 3 new awesomes that came out. You know, they've got better range, they got better missiles, they have, you know, better quirks on them. You know, I want the better mech. The mech that's definitely really good. So people start selling off the archers and start buying these new awesomes. Because, you know, there was a quirk change, for example, for have you on them. So the awesome gets its buffs, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, the new awesomes are just their namesake. They are awesome. Better ranges for their missiles because of quirks and archer or structure quirks and all that stuff." So now they've got the buff. Everyone goes and gets a bunch of, you know, sells their archers, gets their awesomes. Everyone uses their 3 mech bays. But then, about a week or so after the awesome is released, or even a month or 2, even a patch or 2, so 2 months, say, you know what? All of a sudden, everyone's complaining. You know, archer pilots that are still keeping them, like I would, are sitting back going, "Well, you know what? I really like the archer, but come on, PGI, like, can you show it a little bit of love? Can you kind of, you know, make it a little bit more viable?" You know, I have no quirks. It's just a naked mech right out of the box. So they're like, "Okay, fine. We're going to give it some quirks associated with its missiles, with its lasers, with its ECM and all that stuff, and give it that little bit of buff, a little bit of respect that it actually deserves. And modify the quirks a little bit so it's more like the mech of, you know, ye stories of old. Give it a whole bunch of modifications, and sure enough, it's now buffed. But it's buffed better than the awesome. But just a tiny bit better than the awesome. And everyone that has these awesomes, like myself, sit back and go, "Well, wait a minute. So I have this really awesome. I like saying that. But then I also have this archer, right? You know, but I just sold them. I sold my archers to get it. Now the archers are really good. I'm seeing them more often. And I'm really thinking, you know what? After playing these awesomes for 2 months, I really like them. But I also want that archer. So I'm going to drop $10. I'm going to buy 3 mech bays and then repurchase these 3 archers. Cool. 2 months down the road, you know, we're looking at another modification. We'll say the Kentaro. They decide, you know what? People aren't really playing the Kentaro that much. We're going to modify them. We're going to modify it so that, you know, the 5 LRM, you know, the 5 missile slots on it are a little bit more effective. You know, 5 times 5 LRMs or something along those lines, right? Something that you can, you know, play along with a lot. And sure enough, they make it so it's really, really feasible as a support mech for LRMs, or even as a streak boat, or even as, you know, a mech with a whole butt ton of lasers. You know, we'll call it a ranging boat as well. So you got all these players that have these awesomes, these archers, and they're sitting back going, "Oh shit. That Kentaro is basically a faster, more maneuverable version of us here in the archer. It doesn't carry as much, but it's a lot faster, more maneuverable. I can reposition quicker in a match. Shit, I just dropped $10 a couple months ago. You know what? Fuck it. I haven't done anything in a couple months. I mean, it's cheaper than spending, you know, $180 on a PC game. Or $10, no big deal. And this goes on and on and on and on. Now, one reason why I'm saying $10, no big deal, every 2 months, you know, yeah, it adds up. But when you think about it, current games that are coming out recently for PC are kind of pissing me off money-wise. So, here in Canada, for example, Fallout 4 comes out. It's about $70. $40 if you got it during the Steam sale. Pass is about $15 to $20. So you get 2-3 DLCs with that. DLCs, if you don't get the pass, are like $10-15. The most recent DLC, for example, for Arma 3. Arma 3, if you get Arma itself, I got it in beta, so it was $20. But right now it's sitting at about $40 or $50. Its current Apex, its current expansion, is $25 Canadian. It's half the price of the full game. All it is a new island and a new campaign. Something that people can mod in freely. You know, they've added new weapons and new equipment and things like that. So they kind of like, hey, you know, it's a whole new thing. We're adding about 5 or 6 new vehicles. So 5 or 6 new vehicles, campaign, all that stuff. So the way I look at it is, I can spend, you know, almost $100 on a full PC AAA title. I'm saying this Arma 3 is a AAA title because I fucking love that game like a motherfucker. So, you know, full series, or full game right there, Arma 3, almost 100 some odd bucks with all the DLC and all that stuff. Or we spend $10 every couple months in, you know, MWO, for example. So that's the way I look at it. When it comes to, it's just $10. So to get back onto the initial rant here. So what I'm noticing is over time, every couple months, there is this buff nerf cycle. You know, Mech ABC gets the efficiencies increases. Mechs D, E, and F that everyone seems to be using get reduced. So that puts everyone in a position. Sell Mechs ABC, or sorry, sell the Mechs that got reduced, buy the Mechs that got better. Spend $10, buy the new Mechs that got better. And then there you go. 2 months from now, spend another 10, 2-3 months from now, spend another $10. 2-3 months from again, spend another $10. I mean, it's $60 a year, which equals out to one full PC game, right? So I can see how they're looking at that at their end, but definitely I'm noticing it's a bit of a cycle. I haven't bought into it. I just keep buying mechs no matter what. Mechs that I like. So I don't go by the whole nerf and buff thing. I just keep buying mechs that I like, so which is my problem because I end up getting mechs that suck, hence the awesome. At the beginning, when I first started playing, I fucking loved it, but everyone else was like, hey, what the fuck are you driving an awesome for? It's big, it's ugly, it's like a big gorilla. It's, you know, slow and stupid. And now look at it, it's fucking a beast. Fucking love it. But anyways, so there's definitely this slow, perpetual, never-ending buff nerf cycle that definitely seems like they're trying to pad their pockets a little bit. Like it definitely seems like it's targeted specifically to mechs sometimes that have been purchased quite a bit, or just have certain, we'll say, attentions to them, and things like that. So yeah, that's just something that yeah. Oh, give me... Sorry. Cell phone just went off. So it's one of those things where the cycle, I don't think will ever stop, because it's one of their ways they're trying to bring up money, right? Everyone plays a Timberwolf. Timberwolf, in my eyes, was the quintessential mech. That was the mech that you see on all the pictures, all the posters, all the games, is the Timberwolf on a lot of stuff. Timberwolf does really good. They decided to nerf it. A whole bunch of people just got rid of them. They have the mech bays free. Fill them up with other mechs that are better. Then they decide, you know what? We're going to remove the quirks altogether from the Timberwolves and all the other clan mechs as well. So you guys can now play those mechs with no quirks whatsoever, positive or negative. And that was about 5 months, 6 months. So then it's like, well, shit, people are like, well, I just sold them, so, well, fuck. So they all go back and modify what they had again and go, spend money on buying mech bays and stuff like that. So I have to admit, it's something that's very noticeable. It happens long term, I've noticed, every 5-6 months. Something big happens where a mech that was 5 or 6 months ago reduced or increased is then reduced or increased 6 months later. So anyways, that is my little rant for what's going on. Next one is going to be about power creep. If you don't know what power creep is, that's what the next Let's Talk will be about. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.